Mogotek.
All right, welcome everybody. This is James Elumogo from Mogotek, and I'm here to give a presentation on artificial intelligence. A very exciting, fascinating topic. It's a lot going on with our technology today, with the evolution of technology as it relates to artificial intelligence, with self-driving cars. Also, I believe I saw an article that said that in Japan they're working on a cars that fly. Actually, first, when we get into artificial intelligence, I believe it's important for us to talk about human intelligence. Human intelligence. All right, so artificial intelligence is modeled from human intelligence, right? We have different organs in our body. We have the brain, which is the primary, most important organ in the body is the brain, because the brain helps to everything else to be in operation within the body. And the purpose of the brain is to control our thoughts, our memory, because the brain we're able to store, retain, and retrieve information when we need it. We're able to store information from our perception, things that we perceive through our five senses, things we hear, smell, taste, see, and touch. And our brain is that important organ, and it's arguably the most important organ, right? When it comes to technology, the most important part of the technology is the program, the operating system, the program that supports all the pieces within the hardware, right? So there's three stages of the memory: encoding, storage, and retrieval. When people develop computer programs, you have different functions. You have different functions. You have conditions of Boolean. You have strings. You have all of these different things that are within the program to help communicate the instructions from the computer program. So the input of that data is going into that computer program, and then from that data there's output. That output is what the user is seeing of the leverage of cloud computing, big data and cloud computing. Before, when it was like when it was a limited amount of storage capacity, you would develop your program, and then you will make sure you had enough storage to put in those algorithms with those instructions and those conditions and all those different inputs you want to put into your program. And we know that the cloud computing is just servers, these huge servers that, people buy. The internet is stored underground servers all over the world. So they have these cloud servers, right, in different locations, which expand your capacity for data. So if you just think of artificial intelligence, you think of robots, you think of all of these cool, fascinating gadgets and things. These things can now access. It can store, retrieve, and access information that's being transmitted and received from one location to the other, and they call that interoperability. Interoperability is that connection with the technology and how it transmits and receives from the source to the destination. So when you have your AI, like for example, Tesla, self-driving cars, right? There's interoperability happening with the technology within the vehicle that is enabling the maybe it's the internet, or maybe it's data link communication. When it comes to technology, it can be translated through a cellular link of communication or via the internet. And the whole idea, even the 5G technology, which is another topic I'm going to speak on, it uses the cellular technology by installing different cells. So it could be a clear link of communication from the tech from the antenna to that cell, which corresponds to that cellular tower a lot more. It helps the cell helps facilitate that. Now, when we get to artificial intelligence, we know that when you have a computer, you need an operating system to help computer run. We know we need the hardware and the software. We know we need data, right? Because you want to give that computer instructions. We know that in a computer there's multiple parts, like the CPU, the computing processing unit. So circuitry. Circuitry is a chip, and it helps it does all the algorithmic calculations to help process that information. That's why the CPU is so important. Now, and also, so there's different theories and computational theories and computer programs. Now we know that somebody came up with this idea. Somebody was like, hey, because technology in the Greek it pretty much means a work of art, right? That's what it means in the Greek. So, somebody came up with this idea. Okay, look at the human brain. Look at the human body. How can we make this something? How can we materialize and manifest something like this in a form of electronics? Yeah. So you have your computer program. Your basic computer program has your instructions and all those other data types and different things and what have you for your input and your output. Now, your computer program is one thing, but what makes it an algorithm is when you add those functions. You add more of those complex conditions within the program itself, right? And then also you're leveraging that data, that big data, to solve problems and a goal. Now, artificial intelligence is a machine learning application, right? Characters, then deny them. And if they type in the right characters, then grant them entry. You put in your program the different conditions, right? Just like when we interpret something, when we see something, okay, you see a car drive by, a red car, and you're like, that's a car, right? So if that car comes to you, there's different reactions that's going to happen. If that car doesn't come to you, so that you're going to be able to respond based upon the way you perceive what's happening. So the program is going to respond based upon the instructions that you provided, the different conditions of what you tell the program to do. It says artificial intelligence is a wide-ranging branch of computer science concerned with building smart machines capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. So in the 1950s, we had a generation of scientists, mathematicians, and philosophers, with the concept of artificial intelligence culturally assimilated in their mind. 1957 and 1974, that's when AI started to flourish. Computers are able to store more information more faster. Now we know that IBM, they're like the founding fathers as it pertains to a computer system with mainframes. Well, look, 1954, 1974, they were able to do research. These scientists in a conference, and they come up with a faster, cheaper, more accessible technology, and they were able to use. They're able to help computers become more faster, cheaper, and more accessible with using these machine learning algorithms. So people think that machine learning algorithms is something of the now, and it was something of the past, the 1950s. In the 1950s, so it improved and things got better, and algorithms were able to be applied. And the goal of AI. So the goal of AI was for learning, reasoning, and perception. So AI is used in many industries. As we know, the healthcare industry, the financial industry. So the healthcare industry is using it to help treat patients. The pandemic, COVID-19, there's different symptoms and there's different research that goes into that. Hey, they can put the information into like an AI to help solve like a formula, with functions and mappings and programming and stuff like that, which can be pretty interesting to help cure diseases, right? And then you have converting that to something tangible, a tangible product that is able to emulate the brain. I just think that's so fascinating how they came up with that.